Hey guys, how's it going? You're going to have to forgive the audio. It's going to be a little echoey. One, my microphone has yet to arrive, and two, I'm standing a little bit further back in order to create additional space in the shot because my intention right now is to use the iPad, the screen recording feature, to transpose what I'm scribing using the stylus onto the screen, so that I'm able to communicate with the camera and also interact with it as I were to in our classroom on a physical whiteboard. So anywho, we're gonna go ahead and try out this format. Hopefully it works. All right, so for today's video, we're going to focus on subject pronouns, specifically the subject pronouns he and she. We're also going to talk a little bit about the possessive subject pronoun versions of both of these. So for example, we have the subject pronoun he, and its possessive version is his. And then of course we also have our subject pronoun she, and the possessive version, which is hers. Now we're going to talk about when to use he and she versus his and hers. This is a mistake, or actually this is a problem I see that occurs pretty often, not just in my own class, but even outside, listening to some people speak. I hear that they make these mistakes often, meaning they use one when they should have used the other. So we're going to talk about the rule involved. All right, so looking first over here, I'm just going to put a little star. Oops, maybe not. Let me get this to work. Oh, there we go. So just kind of focus on this area, looking at he and she. We've got singular subject pronouns. We're just talking about one man in this case, just looking at he. Now, if you're going to use he or she, you're always going to want to follow that subject pronoun with a verb. So as an example, he, and that's a plus, although I really shouldn't use the plus because it's pretty confusing. So let's try this instead. Ooh, forgive me, guys. So he is, because is going to be our verb, very tall. So again, you're going to want to keep in mind that if you're going to have a complete sentence, meaning I had to complete the sentence, you're going to want to follow that verb with its complete predicate. So again, we've got he as the subject pronoun, so the sentence has a subject, which in this case is he. And then of course we've got our verb, because like I said, we want to follow it with a verb. And then we're going to complete it with the predicate, which is in this case very tall. So I am adding an adjective to describe the noun, the subject pronoun, in this case, he. All right, now looking below where it says she, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to follow that same rule where we're going to follow that subject pronoun with a verb. So he, or she, has, we'll use as an example because has, that's going to be our verb. Many, different, and you're going to have to forgive my handwriting, guys. Let's say games, right? Period. Oops, period. So again, we've got our subject pronoun, singular subject pronoun, which is she. We've got our verb, which is has. And then we're going to complete the rest of that sentence. So the predicate following the subject, which is many different games, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and shift to the other side, the other column, looking at the possessive subject pronouns. So for the first one, we've got his. Obviously, we're talking about a man in this case, so both of them are gendered. I should have mentioned that before. In fact, all of these subject pronouns are gendered. Obviously, he is applied to a man. She is applied to a woman. Same thing for his, applied to a man. And her, applied to a woman. Just in case you forget. Or maybe you're new to the English language and you happen to find this video. There you go. All right, so for his as a subject pronoun, remember it is possessive. So instead of following it with a verb, it would be followed by a noun. So a thing that is possessed by the subject. So in this case, as an example, his feelings. Feelings in this case is going to be used as a noun. And then we're going to also want to follow the rest of the sentence, because now if I'm looking at it, I have his feelings. So I've got the subject, his, I've got the noun, which are his feelings, but it's an incomplete sentence. So I've got subject, got a noun, but there's no real predicate to complete this sentence. So let's go ahead and follow this with a verb. So his feelings are, let's say, hurt. Poor guy. I don't know what happened to him, but his feelings are hurt. So again, just to reiterate, we've got our possessive subject pronoun, which is his. We've got our noun, which is feelings, and then we've got to follow that with a verb. And I'm going to go ahead and switch color. Oops, maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and switch colors. I'm going to write, that's a verb, right? So we've got the noun plus the verb. Gotta love color coding. Are hurt. So it describes his feelings. So that would be our adjective. Now we've got a complete sentence. Anyway, I don't want to belabor that. So we're going to go ahead and jump to the female subject pronoun, the possessive subject pronoun, which is hers. Oops, I should have written hers to begin with. Oh no. Sorry, you're going to have to forgive me, guys. I'm still learning how to use this tool. And I bet you just love listening to me explain that. All right, so her what? So I've got to follow this with a noun. So we can do a silly one like her chickens. Actually, let's do this. Let's make chickens, which is currently plural, let's make that singular. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the S. So her chicken, let's see, I need a verb. I'm going to go ahead and use the verb is. So her chicken is very funky. I don't know how I settled on that. It's the power of creativity. So I'm just going to go back over just to be consistent, and I want to make sure that you can identify this as the verb. So keep in mind that if you're going to have a subject pronoun, whether it's possessive or just a singular subject pronoun, you're going to want to follow it with its appropriate noun, or excuse me, you're going to want to follow it with a complete, how should I say, division of the sentence. No, that's not right. You're going to want to complete the sentence. If you're going to have a subject, you're going to want to add a predicate. I was trying to be fancy by explaining it, but here we are. All right. So again, we've got singular subject pronouns, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight this one in yellow. We've got he and she. These are just basic subject pronouns. And then we have their possessive version, which for he would be his, and for she would be her or hers. So that's where we're at. Hopefully this format will work moving forward. It saves me a bunch of time on editing, so I don't have to splice in all these additional elements using the program on this device, actually. And hopefully it's a little bit more clear so you're able to see it despite my handwriting. So anywho, thank you guys again. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.